Coming up next on The Health Hustle.
Listen to your own voice the most. Like, it's totally cool to take in everybody's opinions, like thoughts, and what is their reality, but ultimately you need to feel and see and hear your own voice authentically the most if you want to, I believe, grow at a faster rate as the truer you. So identifying your voice and realizing when it's your mom's or your dad's or your older brother or younger sister, whatever it's going to be, your friends, your peers, the peer pressure, right? Like, just know your own voice first, and that'll lead you wherever you authentically want to go. You'll figure that out.
What's up, y'all? Corey Hibben here, and on this episode, I had a chance to sit down with my boy, Jarrod Cardona, who is also known as the Crazy Trainer. His words, not mine, and we definitely get into where that name came from and what it actually means to him now today. He used to own a small personal training facility out in Orlando, Florida, but has since moved here to the great city of Austin, Texas, where he is making amazing connections, vibing out, and building his training business here in town. Some of the things that we get into on this episode specifically, though, are why he believes bodybuilding is the missionary sex of fitness. That was a fun conversation. The moment that triggered the mindset shift that changed everything for him, why he calls himself the Crazy Trainer and what that ultimately means to him, learning empathy, becoming intrinsically motivated, our 6 emotional needs, which is a lesson that he learned from a Tony Robbins conference, preventing burnout, leveling up, learning to be more human, listening to your own voice, and so much more. One last thing, if you're a health or fitness professional and you're having difficulties getting leads, one of the most common reasons that I see this is not having a well-defined niche. If you go to the link in the description, I have a free 3-step process that walks you through exactly how to get clarity on which niche is best suited for you and your business. Without further ado, let's go. Jarrod Cardona, the Crazy Trainer.
Hell yeah.
Welcome to the show, brother. I want to start off with a quote that you pinged at me. Bodybuilding is the missionary sex position of fitness. What does that mean to you?
You're welcome. So I think bodybuilding was the way I got into fitness.
Same.
And I believe most of us got into fitness through bodybuilding. Something that really attracted me about that was my ego, to be honest with you. I was like,
look good
I gotta
naked.
look like that. And if I look like this, then things will happen. More things will happen, etc.
Chicks,
you name it, just more opportunities. And I was really hungry to get into that physique. And so bodybuilding was the thing I stuck with for the first year and a half of my training. And I think most of us don't get out of that loop of, hey, there's not just bodybuilding. Like, we know CrossFit came around, and that was huge for a while. And that's something that still is more variety than just bodybuilding. And same thing with sports performance training. Sports performance training is there. Functional training, Pilates, dance, you name it. There's so many ways to move. And so I think, like, yes, bodybuilding is safe. It's consistent. It is missionary sex, though. It just is. It's safe. It's consistent. We love it. But there's absolutely so much more variety out there. And I imagine most of us got started in that position, you know? It's very relatable. I did. I don't know about you. I wasn't out there.
Okay, I can resonate with this so much, and that's why I wanted to start with this, because I've pretty much been on, I would say, the bodybuilding kick most of my fitness career. Exactly like everybody, it's kind of how I got into it, and it's carried me through a long slew of like competing in physique shows and all the different bodybuilding avenues. And I would say within the last probably like maybe year, so it's only relatively recent that I've opened the door to more of the performance-based stuff. Mm-hmm. And it honestly, as crazy as this sounds, came from, I got into running because there's a community of people I wanted to get involved with. Not because I wanted to get in running. Purely, I just wanted to be closer to this community of people. It's BPN, if you're familiar with them. They had a marathon.
The supplements.
Yeah, the company.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. So they had a marathon recently, and this is a group of like very athletic people that I wanted to be a part of. And now I find myself like training for a high rocks or like doing more functional movements. I haven't back squatted, and I can't tell you how long, purely because I'm just focused on more performance-based stuff. So I can relate in so many ways. And the carryover to life, crazy. Like crazy how much better it is. So I love that expression, though, of the missionary position of fitness. So
I like what you said about the carryover to life, about the functional fitness and performance training.
Well, you feel better.
You feel better. You feel more confident in your body, what you're doing, why you're doing it. yeah, your intentions start to rise with more confidence.
Totally. I mean, and you briefly touched on it before we started recording about just getting more in tune with your body and like the presence of it and like making you as a more present human. Cause I can totally resonate with that as well now, is like now just noticing basic things of like how I'm standing or how my hip position is, or very basic things that just make you more present.
Mm-hmm.
So I can totally relate to that. What got you into fitness in the first place? Let's start there.
I think what I mentioned earlier, outside of athletics, I was, well, I guess that's really where I started actually. As an athlete, I always loved playing sports, anything that involved hand-eye coordination, quick problem solving with myself, teammates, etc. So I got involved in soccer really early. Then I went to basketball. Basketball became my main squeeze for most of my life. I played in high school competitively. And then I ended up pretty much like most athletes after high school, kind of washed up. But I didn't continue practicing. I didn't continue staying in the culture of it. So I gained a lot of weight over the span of probably about 2 years. And that's what initially got me into like fitness, I guess, was sports.
Okay.
And what brought me back to it was just being unhappy with my body. I would look in the mirror and be like, I'm not happy about it. I'm not satisfied. And to start my day with that off subconsciously was just not the vibe for me. I knew that's not something I want to sit in the rest of my life. As I look in the mirror and I don't really want to look. I didn't like the person looking back, not necessarily because of the physique, but I knew I wasn't trying. I knew I wasn't pushing myself. And just that knowing was enough to trigger or whatever, create a mindset shift where I knew I needed to change. And if I didn't do it now, then when, right?
Totally. And this was all back in Florida? This is where you're from originally?
Yep.
Okay.
I remember I was getting ready to go to school at UCF from transferring from Miami-Dade and just getting my associate's degree. And I just wanted to upgrade my life, like on many levels. For sure, I wanted to be more confident. I wanted to feel more social. I wanted to feel more confident in myself, which I believed at the time was my body. And that was what brought me to the gym, was going through that lifestyle change.
The thing I really was excited to bring you on the show about is that aspect of the crazy trainer. And there's two reasons why that's kind of an exciting topic for me. One, I want to know why you landed on that as how you essentially branded yourself. And the second aspect of that I want to touch on is that you've literally been at this now for 10 years. And what I love about that number so specifically is because I literally went back through like your original like posting and social media, and like even when you started talking about like the kettlebell stuff and everything that you do, it was literally like I think 2013, so 10 years ago. And you're just a great example of like now what you're doing now, depending upon how you define success, is like you feel like the classic like 10-year overnight success is like people are like, oh, like you're doing so great and I love your content and you're amazing. I'm sure you get DMs all the time, but it's like, yo, I've been doing this for 10 years and I love that.
It's 10 years, and also knowing like I'm not attached to that success, and it's really nice to get compliments and to hear such kind words from a lot of people, but I know that the work is being done in person just as much as it's being done online.
Totally. So what about the naming piece of it then? So why did you land on the crazy trainer to begin with?
I remember probably a year and a half into LA Fitness, I had eventually separated, and I joined a boutique studio, very small, like 1,200 square foot personal training zone. That's the whole building. And I was like, what do I do here? It's not loud. There's not like weights going on. I have 3 clients pretty much that transferred with me from this LA Fitness to here. I have all the time in the world. How am I going to get more clients? What am I going to do? And I turned to social media and I saw influencers on there, Primal Soldiers, Hannah Edens. Whether I knew the names or not at the time, I was like, I'm never going to be one of those, but I could be one of those if I try. Like maybe I'll start with a name. Like, okay, like what do I want to be called? I remember at the time, a lot of my friends, I was wearing a Death by Jarrod shirt because in my boot camps that I would run at LA Fitness, I would just break you. Just break everybody. With my one-on-one clients too, you're destroyed. You're not leaving without your legs quivering, and you're going to think about me for the next week. So I had this very egoic approach as a trainer in the beginning, not really considering a lot more. Point being, I ended up sitting with the crazy trainer at the boutique studio because one, I was like, that sounds cool. The crazy trainer, Crazy Train, Ozzy Osbourne. All right, cool. That's linked up. What else? I looked up the word crazy. What is the meaning of crazy? And I saw a quote about how crazy is often confused with or associated with batshit passionate. And I was like, people would literally call me crazy at LA Fitness because I would sit next to your feet. My eyes would cross looking for millimeters of movement because I cared that much about the mechanics in my one-on-one settings that I'd be on the floor looking at your feet at LA Fitness where everyone's going bodybuilding, taking steroids. Not the environment, in my opinion, for that looking back, but I just didn't give a fuck. Because I care so much about the moment, the person in front of me, the results of it, the biomechanics. So I would get called crazy. And when I saw that quote, I was like, this is it. Let me look it up on Instagram and see if it's available. Pew. And then I LLC'd it that day, did my stuff, got it on Instagram. And it just felt right. And it continues to feel right as I have found who is the crazy trainer. What is the crazy trainer? It's me going deeper into me over time, being okay with that. Like, I don't have to change my brand name, in my opinion. I'm batshit passionate about what I do still. There doesn't need to be a change in many things yet.
I like that a lot. Do you feel... Man, I'm glad you touched on that aspect of how, although the name has stayed the same, I'd be willing to bet, though, like, the meaning behind it has probably evolved.
It's gotten deeper.
Yeah. What do you feel like from then to now, how it's evolved as to, like, how you see the crazy trainer?
At first, it was just me. I'm the crazy trainer. You guys are whatever you want to be, trainers and coaches. Then I realized everybody's the crazy trainer. There's a lot of passionate coaches out there. There's a lot
Especially
of passionate trainers on it. You name it. I've been to some of the best facilities in the world, some of the smartest facilities in the country. And there are some batshit passionate motherfuckers out there. And they're the crazy trainer in their own right and way. Just because I have the name on Instagram doesn't mean that they're not that too. And I've worked with a bunch of crazy trainers. I get to coach crazy trainers, and they can call themselves their own brand, and that's wonderful. But to me, that passion is there.
I love that. Would you do anything different in the last 10 years of your journey of being a crazy trainer that you look back at now and you're like, I should have done that differently?
Everything needs to happen the way it happened for it to get to this moment. So I can't say I would really change I can't change a thing.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah, because you've only been in, we were briefly touching on this, Austin for 3 months now, you said, coming up?
Coming up on 3.
Do you feel pretty good about being here now?
The last few weeks, absolutely finding that routine, finding that groove of what makes me more me while I'm in Austin, because I am enjoying my lifestyle currently of being able to travel more fluidly and frequently.
Totally.
But when I'm in Austin, being grounded here is what was needed, and so I think I'm figuring it out for sure.
What would you say is the biggest mistake you've made in the last 10 years? And that could be emotionally or monetarily.
It's hard again to because mistakes are what leads to learning. And so a lot of my mistakes led to the future version of me being like, oh, empathy. Now I can empathize on a million other things because I was a dick, because I was an asshole, because I sucked, because I didn't have empathy, because I didn't understand. Like one of the mistakes I made, right? To me, it's perfect.
A lesson.
The lesson. It was the lesson
for sure.
Was when I was first that egoic personal trainer at LA Fitness, I cared a lot about the way you moved, yes. But I gave a giant shit about like my results that you're going to give me because you're my marketing, right? You represent me when you walk around at this facility. Your muscles are my muscles. Your success is my whatever, right? So a very egoic approach. And with that, I didn't ask you, what do you do? Like, for a living? What is love? What's your favorite color? You have kids? Shit, that's why you were 15 minutes fucking late, and I'm over here yelling at you like you're my kid or some bullshit. So my first year, I think I really didn't take the time to connect to my person, my clientele, outside of you're my athlete right now. You're my bitch right now. Like you're the person, I'm your dom in this moment. And so I really approached my first year, I think, with that hat, year and a half, years and change. And so, again, huge learning lesson because it's made me a much more successful trainer later, a year and a half later, realizing like, damn, like I was such a dick. Where else am I being a dick? Where else am I creating stories and expectations of people without actually knowing or communicating anything?
I love that word, expectations. You see that in more often than not. Where I learned it was in romantic relationships. I had a mentor once tell me he called them expectation bombs, where there's a conflict in what you expect versus what your partner expects.
Mm-hmm.
But that's equally true in all of our relationships, especially, I mean, you could even consider some of your relationships with your clients like very personal.
Mm-hmm.
And so like understanding where both your expectations probably aren't the same, and there probably is no way they're the same. That's why you're a trainer and they're not.
Yep.
And so communicating those. How do you feel like you shed the ego, and when did that show up for you? Was there like a process that you went through, or like what happened?
When I was in that boutique studio, I ended up having a friend and client that I'll have to give you another story for another time, maybe over like a drink or something or smoke. But anyways, he ended up taking me to a Tony Robbins conference, Unleash the Power Within, I believe. And at the time, he took me saying like, hey, you know, you're a hard worker. You're so intrinsically motivated. This guy is a multimillionaire at 29, CEO, boss, in my opinion, right? He works out with me twice a day, but he needs me as an alarm clock at 5 a.m. I need to go to his door, knock, get his ass up. He needs to have appointments to wake up. And one day he goes, hey, you're so intrinsically motivated. 1, yes, I'm trying to grow. Like, I'm growing. 2, I'm broke. Like, what the hell? You got to make money. Like, I don't know what you're thinking about. Like, I'm intrinsically motivated, but I'm trying to also, like, make a living here. I'm a coach. What the fuck do I do? What's the path? Et cetera, et cetera. So he takes me on to this Tony Robbins conference, and I'm just going in there as a kind of a skeptic. I'm like, people don't change in 2 days. It's not what happens. I know this because I've lost 40 pounds. Like, I get what and then I relapsed 6 months, a year later, lost it again. So I know, like, transformation takes time, integration. You can have the I'm unhappy with the way I look in the mirror conversation for a day, and then what keeps you going? You know, how you gonna integrate? So I went to this conference, and it was all business owners, high performers, CEOs, very wealthy people who wanted to be wealthy. And I was just like, I am real. I'm wealthy. I walked in like, I'm so rich, I'm broke as fuck. Like, on a society scale of, I'm living in a tiny little apartment. It's shit. My bed's on the floor, still sometimes on the floor.
Same.
Point being though, like,
My last bed was, yeah.
Yeah, we're working on it. I just moved a couple months ago. Travel a lot. Point being though, that expectation of success for me, I got rid of when I was very young. Like when I first got into the career, I was like, I'm not doing this shit for money. I'm gonna do this shit for my soul, for my heart, for that fulfillment, and eventually good things will happen because that's life, I hope. But either way, no expectations.
Totally.
So in that conference, as a skeptic, everyone was there for the business conversation, in my opinion. A lot of the systems. Tell me the systems, Tony Robbins. The systems of business. Like, how do you make money? Like, how does this work? We're talking about investments. Talk about all these things, and eventually, like day 2, he starts the conversation in the morning with, today I want to talk about your emotions. I would say day 1 was about like numbers, important things in business, probably branding. At the time, I wasn't paying attention. I was so high, I didn't care. I was like, I'm just here because my fucking person just dragged me here.
Sure.
So, and I'm like, Chicago, pay for my plane ticket, all this stuff. Hell yeah.
You covered everything?
Everything.
Ticket,
It's
flight,
a conversation for
stay.
another time, Corey.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, 100%.
I didn't realize it was in Chicago.
That one, though, it gets interesting.
I just assumed it. Okay, well, off air.
Hey, listen, I was just trying to make a living and have some security.
Maybe this is
whatever my guy needed.
This is something we post in a private membership group on a later date.
No, it was nothing sexual though. But interesting. But maybe for like a green card, the man needed a green card, and I was like, hey, I need some money and this security, and I trust you. You trust me. Cool.
Just
so
quick tug, real quick.
Almost married a man, but
just don't look at it.
No sexual stuff. Full business didn't happen. Anyways, Tony Robbins conference.
Second day, got it.
Day 2, he goes into, listen, all that shit I told you yesterday won't mean jack shit. He didn't say it like that. He said it Tony Robbins way. But it won't mean anything if you don't understand your emotions.
Agreed.
Because many people in society and in life make emotional decisions that lead to success to overnight homeless. Stockbrokers, investors, they get emotionally invested instead of doing the numbers, being logical. And he goes, And I'm not saying don't feel emotions. He goes, the exact opposite. Identify everything. What brings you what energy, what emotion, when, why. And so he gets into this conversation of every human being has 6 emotional needs. There's going to be variety, security, connection, significance, growth, and contribution. Every human has the needs for these 6 things. Imagine each need is a bank account, its own bank account. What brings you security? What brings you variety? So the first one, for example, house for a lot of people. At the time for me, I was training people. That brings me fucking security, literally. Training myself. I feel so good when I train. I feel so comfortable, me. What else brings me that? Family, my dog. I didn't have much money, so I didn't put that at the top of my security list. So I started making this list of what brings me security, a list of what brings me variety, a list of what brings me significance, connection, growth, and contribution. And I was like, holy fuck, coaching is all this for me. Before anything else. This shit is, with the person, I feel secure in what I do. Yes, there's a transaction there too, but man, I feel so good being here. Like, I know that security. Okay, cool. Variety. You have knee pain today, John? All right, we're doing some release work here, here, and here, and we're going to do some corrective exercises. The original plan was I'm going to fuck you up today. But, hey, you came in feeling this way. We spoke about it. Cool. What does that mean we did? Connect. We connected, not only to his body, my body, each other's, right? We connected on a dialogue. Significance. I'm the coach. I'm a trainer. I'm helping you. Whatever it is brought me significance. Then I went to growth. I'm an entrepreneur. I can control that. I'm a mover. As a mover, I can get better at movement. Okay, cool. I can get better at training. They can get better at training. There's always growth. Muscles. Contribution. I'm giving you knowledge. Knowledge is 4D. Ain't no money on that. You're learning how to fucking learn your body and be more present with your life forever. Like, you can pay me $1 million. Technically, I don't pay it back. I know that. I believe that 100%. It's nice. Thank you. I love you all, my athletes, clients, friends, and the people who've invested in me. But I do believe knowledge and time is kind of like the not tangible stuff we give to each other. So that should be valued at the highest capacity in my own head while we're here. One of them, yeah.
When you were talking about how coaching is the thing that gives you all 6 of those buckets, I literally got the chills. And I think that was an incredible way to describe how important each aspect of those. And it resonates so deeply with the concept that I think about literally daily, dude. I was literally just talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday, and I can't even take credit for it. I learned it from Mark Manson. If you're familiar, he wrote the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Well, there are a whole handful of other books.
I saw a movie on the plane that was called that. So it's the same dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there was a movie about it.
It's okay.
But anyways, in the book, he really clearly lays out is that we are emotional creatures first and logical creatures second. Period, without question. No matter how much you want to try to tell me how many degrees and certifications and how many letters are behind your name, we almost always make decisions based on emotion and rationalize it logically. Always. And people forget that, right? And so like to be able to understand the emotional levers that are making you make these decisions, if you don't start there, you're never going to make the right choice, whether it's like working out or getting your finances in order or being good to your spouse or whatever it is, if you don't know like your emotional triggers.
Yep, and realizing which behaviors are bringing you which trigger or which bank account, which aren't always positive.
Right.
Like it took me a while to realize like weed is definitely security for me. Still can treat it like security. Connection, variety, growth. The plant literally grows. I found every reason. Contribution. You need some bud. I'm your bud. I got bud. That doesn't have to be good or bad, but there's low vibration behavior in my opinion, right? Yeah. And you probably shouldn't do. I feel like we have to know both sides of the emotional bank account.
Totally.
Because if all of a sudden I am eating a lot more shit, and that's not normal behavior of mine, am I lacking security? in my life that this makes me feel secure right now, so much of it. Okay. Think about the money problems, how to solve that problem. Whatever it is, porn addiction, you name it, addiction. The ones you don't have freedom for. Like, I want to choose my addictions.
Totally. The thing that comes to mind when you were talking about those 6 buckets, as crazy as it sounds, is it's podcasting for me. Like, those fill what I would say all 6 of those buckets in so many ways.
Ooh la la.
Yeah.
Good.
That's interesting. I feel like I've never looked at it from that lens, but I encourage anybody listening to also think about the things that fill those buckets and which one hopefully fills all of them, like coaching does for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
It does subconsciously, even for the person in front of me. They might not recognize it, but all those 6 buckets are being hit.
Well, it's because it's a massive transfer, like value add, I'm sure. Is like when you're being fulfilled by the fact that you're getting all 6 of those buckets filled, you probably show up in a better light, which is beneficial for the person in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a quote, another one from you, not the missionary sex position one, but here's another one. Life isn't like a bowl of cherries or peaches. It's more like a jar of jalapenos. What you do today might burn your ass tomorrow. What does that mean?
I think my dad sent me that probably like a decade ago. It's funny. There's a picture with it and everything, I remember. And I think at the time I attached it to like a photo or something just to get a quote out there, right? I was being an influencer. So that was probably where I was at. And at the time I'd probably done some stupid shit and was like, damn, I got burnt because I was a dumbass. So that's why I posted that. I can't say it goes much deeper than that, honestly. That one would have been years ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I read that and I was like, that's good. That's gold.
But you talk about, where you started, where you're at, and development of the brand, who I am. I had to really, that's what I'm saying. The brand grew as I really started to realize, like, what are my truths? That was a dad truth. That's my dad's truth, potentially, right? His voice, not my voice. So.
Well, thank you to your father. I don't know what his name is, but
Abraham Cardona. Thank you, Abe. I love you.
Appreciate you, Abe.
Pops.
There might not be any depth to this question either, but you are very particular about telling me that your favorite color is purple. What? I don't understand.
I don't know. I thought you just wanted to know some fun things, and something I ask people often is like, what's your favorite color? And coincidentally, there is something there. If I really want to think about it from like a universal angle here, patterns. A lot of the people I work with, their favorite color is purple.
Really?
And yellow and greens. Yeah, it's a lot of but purple is usually like, I get a lot of purple people.
How do you know that? Do you ask?
I ask. I ask
that's
often.
That's like intake form, question number 1. What's your favorite color? We're not aligned. We can't work together.
I remember when I first started training, it was just patterns, right? And so asking people random questions. And I see one of my colleagues do this, Brian over at On It. And something I really love, he'll just be like, if you could have a superpower, what superpower would it be? And I was like, I do the same shit. I say the same kind of shit to my people. I always, when I started that training, because you realize, like, the same joke works. It's like a comedian. The same shit works over and over for all these people. Okay, cool. Now that I know they're all on NPC mode, right? Like, they're not present. Let me throw a fucking curveball their way. Hey, how's your day going? Most people would say, what? Good.
Yeah.
Then they'd be like,
how's your day?
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. That just blew their minds. Like, I remember going to Publix and just like, the cashier, how's your day going? Amazing. How about yours? It's good. Why?
They're like, what?
I would ask, why?
They're like, I don't know.
They didn't ask my questions. Why is it good? Just good? Good's a C. Good's average. Everybody says they're good, but most people aren't good. So those kind of questions to me are, whether it's the color purple, like what's your color, they're invaluable because they connect us and kind of bring us out of that, bring us into the matrix, or whatever you want to call it, into the mix, what a lot of my buddies call it. Into the sauce. They bring us more presence when we have a curveball like that versus, how's your day? Good. All right, bye. See you. Have a nice day.
I like the bring it to the sauce. I call them pattern disrupts. It's the same thing, but you're giving somebody a pattern disrupt. It's like, that gets them out of the, like, whoa, what? I got to be here for a second because I actually have to make a conscious thought as opposed to just being a robot in my day.
Automated answers.
Totally.
And just working with one-on-one clients so often at LA Fitness in the beginning, I got really great at connecting. I kept a lot. I remember I had 50 to 60 clients one-on-one in person. Shit was insane.
Are you introverted or extroverted?
I used to think I was extroverted, or wanted to be, or tried to be.
Sure.
And I don't consider myself growing up like I was the popular kid. I was always good at sports, which got me my ticket to lots of things, some parties, friends, whatever. But I never connected. No matter how extroverted I was, I didn't connect. And I think because I never took the time to connect to myself, so when I became more introverted, and really went into solitude and asked myself a lot of questions and connected to me, and I continue to do that over cycles of time. That's what allows me to extrovert a lot more. And so I've become more extroverted because I had to go into my introvert and realize like I don't have the tools to be that extroverted yet.
Yeah, I can resonate with the introvert extrovert thing. I was telling you before we started recording how I used to be a trainer, and that was always the biggest challenge for me. And it's kind of honestly the reason that got me out of fitness personally was that I felt like all the energy I was pouring into the gym and the people there and training them started to pull away from my own enjoyment of being at the gym to the point where I didn't want to be there anymore. And I was like, that's not good. Like this needs to be a healthy outlet for me in some way. So that's kind of my question for you is how do you balance that? How do you prevent burnout? And like, how do you find space for yourself?
Continuing to do that with, talking about routine recently, that's kind of been a big part of it for me is where do I get my recovery outside of my training, right? Because if training is the only thing that hits all these 6 baskets or is the only thing that makes me happy, we got some issues. We got some things to work on. I don't have enough tools. That's one tool. So the first thing I did, and I think beginning subconsciously, was instead of fitness being just bodybuilding, it became unconventional training and steel mace flow, kettlebell flipping, mobility. All these sections of fitness I opened up first. And I think that was the biggest piece as a coach is I'm still learning, motherfuckers. I'm going to tell you to learn and grow and all this shit if I'm not doing it. And I think most people's truths stop there already by accident. They're like not realizing like, damn, like I'm doing the same cycle over and over again, the same loop over and over again. Like, where's your growth, right? When we go back to those 6 baskets, like, can we identify that there? And so I feel like that's what I went to subconsciously. I just needed to do it. Try new things. I must. It was a truth that was already calling me. So I think as a coach and trainer, that was step 1 is learn all these things, learn from other mentors, other coaches that are incredible coaches, great biomechanics, learn about the details of all these little pieces that come together in functional training, but in flow. And so that still is endless to me. I've barely scratched the surface as a mover, in my opinion. Just starting to tap in, I think, for real. So that was step 1, is a lot of learning. Like if you're going to do something, learn a lot about it. Make variety out of it, right? Get better at podcasting. It'll lead to more excitement about it.
Totally.
Talking about it, etc. So that was step 1 as a trainer, mover, coach, movement coach, whatever you want to call me at this point. And now I'm in the stages, I believe, of what else fulfills me outside of that is a lot active recovery. Whether it's going for a hike, whether it's going I've only been a handful of times, but to the springs over here, Barton Springs, just laying out, going to the Zilker Park on Wednesday afternoons with a bunch of my buddies to whether I want to just sit there, throw a football, smoke a joint with them, throw a frisbee, throw some bells, make a dance with the kettlebells, like whatever we want to do there. Have a Ziki burger fest that we did a few weeks ago. Like the point is that's something that also juices me up. And it might be active a little bit, but really it's the environment, being around the right people. Same with the hiking. Like it's not just the walking, it's the nature. It's being with my dog, us two only, vibing out. Saunas, contrast therapy with plunges. Those are more tools for me. Traveling has become a tool instead of just like a thing I do. No, let me do it to juice me up. Where am I going and why am I going there?
Totally.
Yeah, who am I going to spend my time with there if I want to go? Do I want to spend time with somebody else? I better feel like I want to hang out with them kind of thing. Identifying the kind of people I want to be around. I've learned for myself, opening more unconditional love for myself has allowed me to identify that same energy in others and when I mean unconditional love, I mean just giving without expectation. And I've learned to identify more of those people in the last couple of months about you don't have an expectation of me. You just love me for me. And I can feel that shit. It's a sniff it. Refreshing. It's my same scent. I love that. So finding more of those types of people have been key for me. Brothers, a lot more brothers in my life than ever before, where I'm deeply connected, not just we train. That's it. train and move and eat. Like, we have deeper connections these days, real dialogue. Podcasting has become refreshing for me, something that rejuvenates me. I usually walk away from a podcast like, damn, had a great time. My 6 baskets got hit.
Hell yeah.
So I'm continuing to find what brings me more of that energy. Foam rolling, decompression, that kind of work, massage, like, and yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Do you feel like when you started figuring that out about, because what I'm hearing is that you've really kind of found more who you are and the things that you enjoy. I think a lot of people have no idea what the fuck they like. And I think that there's a degree of like, yeah, there's some trial and error and figuring it out. Would you say that has anything to do with your ability to like connect with people from a social media standpoint? Because I mean, obviously you've grown a pretty healthy audience from a lot of the content that you're creating. What would you say would be like contributes to that? Like, what is it about it that made people resonate or resonates with people?
I don't really know, but I enjoy it. Like, that's something that I've realized as an influencer or someone who's been consistently on there, and I was on there daily. Like, I don't push it out with expectations. I'm just giving out some content I think will make you a better mover, that I think will have you think outside the box. Good workouts, get good engagement. Okay, cool. So I want my brand to keep going. It's great, but if it doesn't grow through that, like, cool, we pivot or keep doing things that I like doing. So, I use it to connect with a lot of people. Like, some of my best friends come from Instagram. Past partners come from Instagram. So I use it as a tool to connect, not just to consume.
Yeah.
I honestly don't even do too much consumption on there. Sometimes I'll get lost in the funny stuff, right, for a few minutes, to be honest. But, like, I'm on there to create. I'm on there to provide. I remember one of the biggest things in the beginning of, like, I'm going to own this, I'm going to go all in on this, was I'm not seeing what I want to see on Instagram is my problem at the time. I was triggered by it. I'm not seeing the things that I know need to be seen on Instagram. I'm tired of seeing the same shit over and over again in fitness. So what are you going to do about it, buddy? And it took me a while. Like, I remember opening my gym. I had a gym at the time, for me to be like, I'm going to do it. Like, fuck. Like, why don't I put out shit that I like? And maybe that'll do well. So the more me I became and the more me I wanted to present, the more me's got attracted to me.
You seem very action-oriented. Have you always been that way?
No. Absolutely not. Couch potato. It's one or the other generally. It's I can go into full just melt mode and do zero. It's either zero or like I'm on or I'm not. I'm learning to do both, but my personality has always been like, I remember my grandpa always called me a lazy bum. My grandma always called me lazy bum. Everyone always said I was just lazy.
Really?
Yeah, sloth. I identified it as it too for a very long time. I'm lazy. I will sleep in biology at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. class, whatever it was at the time. I will sleep in the middle of the next class. Like, I didn't care. No fucks. When you get on that spectrum, no fucks given, actually, about myself or anybody else. So I grew up, I think, with a lot of that mindset. And I don't think it was, I think I forced it in a lot of ways on myself. Like, I try to think about who influenced me like that. My sister was never really like that. She's very motivated. My mom, same thing, did a lot of things. So that work ethic came later. Survival, to be honest, survival.
Needing to pay the bills or what?
Needing to pay the bills, needing to get a car, wanting to feel like more adult. All those pieces contribute to, like, you need to.
Was this like a leaving
work.
of the home, you need to provide for yourself type
No,
situation?
all my friends went to university at the time, like University of Florida, FSU, UCF, and I stayed home because I didn't get good enough grades to get high enough scholarships. My family didn't have money. I didn't work enough to make the money to go. No one was, loans were absolute no. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I just knew that was wrong. Like, for me, I felt that was wrong, not the thing to do. So I punished myself because I could have gone to some schools, UNF. I remember there was a few schools, and then transfer. Could have had that lifestyle, the Greek life, that I'm Jewish, I'm Latino, but a lot of my friends that were Jewish went to fraternities, and it was super cool watching them party and get girls and all the stories. And so for those 2 years, I was like, I'm going to fucking work. I need to evolve because my friends were motivated to get to where they got to. I need to fucking level up. So I think those 2 years I really working 2 or 3 jobs at the time got me very motivated. And then eventually realizing like I can add that work ethic to working out. I can add that work ethic to studying. The focus muscle, I can grow it.
Not that we're having a pissing contest here, but in comparison to your buddies that went to college, do you feel like you surpassed them?
I'm not sure what that would mean, to be honest with you. Surpass them.
Like happier, more fulfilled, doing what you love.
I have some friends that are unhappy. They're
Yeah.
unhappy with whether some lawyers or businessmen. A lot of them aren't doing what they wanted to do after they graduated. But I don't know if that's like I hope I'm just as happy. I hope they're just as happy as me.
Totally.
It's really
And I
hard for
agree.
me to be am I more successful? But I definitely I feel if I had to compare, I feel I have more tools to create gratitude. And I do live a fulfilling life outside of monetary values and society's constructs, where a lot of my friends grew up with the successes and the money is in the nice car, the marriage, the house. I redefined that for myself. And so I think it's allowed me to feel more fulfilled because everything else that I talked about, like if all that comes, like that's just sprinkles on top of my ice cream, on top of my cake. Like cake and ice cream, sprinkles, cool.
Yeah.
But that's not what brings me my cake. And I think a lot of my friends at the time, I don't know if they're still like this. For those of them who still follow me, I hope they're continuing to grow and be super happy and find that. But a lot of my friends, I think, really took the sprinkles and made that their cake.
Totally. And I probably posed the question poorly, but I think you answered it beautifully because I think, not that I'm like super successful or amazing and wealthy or anything. I don't think I'm anything special, honestly, at the end of the day. But I think, I always think about life is a pendulum swing in so many ways. Is that I think, similar to you, I grew up, like, I barely passed high school. I couldn't get into college because my grades were so bad. Like, never thought I'd do anything with my life. Like, total bum, total loser. And now I can tell you I'm incredibly happy and incredibly fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And like, not as if I'm like some millionaire, billionaire, ultra success type person, but I can tell you I'm super freaking happy. And I think there's a degree of that pendulum swing, right? I think so often we see where you swing from like, everything sucks. I'm not doing anything with my life. Things are terrible. And then there's something that happens in your psychology, if it doesn't kill you or crush you, that you swing in the opposite direction. And so that's why I kind of see that in you. And that's why I was asking is like, because now looking back, nothing against it, again, to my friends as well, like nothing against them, but like they're mediocre. They're fine. Everything's okay.
When I ask them how they're doing, I'm good.
Yeah.
Versus they ask me how I'm doing, I say I'm great.
Yeah. With nothing wrong with that, right? It's just, I've always noticed that pattern recognition, right? I've noticed that a lot of the conversations that I've had. But so where do you see things going now? I mean, now that you're in Austin, you're still doing the training thing. You're working with Honnett. Like you have this brand you're building online. What do you hope's next?
I'm creating more structure. I feel that's one of the biggest things I need to do for my personal brand and the audience that invests, follows, engages, or wants to invest is to create a higher quality product. And what I do in person works extremely well. That's why I've been a booked one-on-one trainer for 7-8 years. I've only gotten better, and my one-on-one approach in person is extremely, I think it's my highest me. Bringing that online, not necessarily Instagram only, but online as a product is where I'm going next. And I believe that creating my cookie cutter I'm ready for it. I didn't want to put out a cookie cutter because I believe nothing is cookie cutter. But one of my buddies who is in another section of fitness and powerlifting, Craig Mongelli, the great dude, you just got to on it as well, really like him. We just started to connect and he said, hey, like my program runs for a year and a half. I made a cookie cutter program 3 or 4 times a week. And you know why it's cookie cutter? Why? It works. That's why it's cookie cutter. It might not be the very individualized variety of everything, for each person, but if you think about it, what would your program be for a year and a half? And my thing has always been, well, I'm not trying to just get you to lift more weight. That's not my goal here. So developing, if I was making a cookie cutter, what's it for? To get better just kettlebells? I love kettlebells. It's what I'm really known for in my brand, but that's an extension of my body. Okay, so what do I really want to cookie cut? And that's the process I'm in now, is creating that 2 to 3 month syllabus of, if you're in a training, want to be a great coach, want to be a great athlete, you want to feel extremely confident in your movements, you want to move to the point where you know what not to do and what to do on that specific day, tailor every experience to your feelings, you follow this cookie cutter I'm developing. Because that's going to get you this present. It's going to be work. It's going to slow you the fuck down. Because that's how I started being really great at what I do, is slowing down. So I'm really passionate about this project clearly coming. I took on some mentees the last week so I could literally build the program with them. I know what needs to get done. Now I need to be accountable to it. Most people don't take, I think we take sales knowing we have the products and stuff, nah, that'll push me a little faster.
Hell yeah.
To get my product out. Because I know it works. Now I promised it to somebody I got to work faster. Because I know that's the truth and it's going to help. So that's where I'm at with creating structure online. Creating more of a business out of the Crazy Trainer to create sustainability, to create more freedom. Right? More security. But to use it as a tool for myself and for everyone I love and for everyone around me. Because I want to train one day from my soul. I don't want to train you for money one day. I want to just, I got plenty of money. It's coming in. Let's just train. Let's just focus on your biomechanics. Let me give you 1,000,000% of my soul in this moment versus any security, money-wise. I don't care. I want to be at that point where I can train like that. I think that would be, I don't know what number that is, but I do believe I can get there with the brand and with the network and being really good to people and making that good of a product. So that's kind of my next thing. And I love workshops. I love continuing education. I haven't taken so many certifications, and I love some of the ones I've taken, but I'm funny. And I think there's a guy I love named Clifton, Cliff, who he works with PPSC, paying free sports performance. I can't remember now. PPSC. They're a great education certification company. I love what they're doing, knowledge base wise. And he created the functional kettlebell training certification. And I was like, damn, he's hilarious. He's how I am in my head as a person who leads workshops and seminars. You're a scientist, but you're also fucking hysterical. Be a perv a little bit. Let that shit out. Be a human. And so I feel a lot of my experiences I've gotten to give so far, which is only probably, under 10, have been really phenomenal for people. I've seen coaches engage for 12 hours. 12 hours for me, not really that structured of a person. It wasn't that structured. I just know what needs to get done in a workshop to translate the information where it's digestible. And I've gotten only better at it. So I want to do that. I think leading a lot more seminars, talks, education, biomechanic conversations. I think that'd be cool as I go. I love building content with cool people who like doing the same shit. So training with other people who like training similarly. That's always nice.
Cool, man.
That's kind of it right now as far as the Crazy Trainer going and where I want to push it.
Yeah, I think the best content creators that I know have this beautiful balance between education and entertainment. I mean, if you can do both of those,
if I had some help on my shit, I'm looking for that person also for my brand. Man, just if I had the team, that thing would exactly where it needs to go very fast. So that's another piece is in my brand is finding the person who can just capture me being me without a selfie stick. I like that person. Here's some thoughts. Give me a skeleton. Okay, cool. Let me make that skeleton mine. Now that you gave me something to work with, because I don't know necessarily marketing because I never consume so much. But when I have a consumer tell me something to play with, I make a good show. And so I'm doing that with my brand next as well.
You need a number 2. We should talk, man. I'm a pretty damn good number 2. We should
cool.
talk about
We're
that.
talking now. We can talk like that later. You know what I'm saying? Fully sexual.
We have 10 rapid fire questions. I normally have those out in front of me, but we had some technical issues. So I think I can remember all 10 of them. I've done over 100 episodes.
You're a high performer.
Pretty confident that I know them all. First question is whatever the first thing that comes to mind. What's your best business advice?
Good business is good karma.
Oh, I love that, actually. I always think it's funny when people tell me they don't believe in karma. I'm like, hold on. You tell me that you don't think if you do good for other people that good things come back? That's karma. It seems pretty straightforward to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, be good to people, they'll be good to you. I mean, it's business.
It's pretty simple at the end of the day.
Be honest. Yeah.
Second question, what's your best marketing advice?
Be yourself the best you can. That's really it in my head, is be as authentically yourself as you can when you present yourself, because you want to maintain that. You know, I can't hold on to a projection that I put out there for you. Be me.
What's one secret or something most people don't know about you?
Well, I told you I almost married a man, right? For him to get a green card. So I think that one's,
There's no way that's accurate. But
I swear to God, that's one thing that almost nobody knows about me.
Are you serious?
I almost married, that's why I went to that Tony Robbins conference. I almost married a client so he could get a green card because he didn't trust women. And I had such a scarcity mindset that I didn't trust myself to find security within myself or others that I would eventually be able to help. So I took that deal for like 3 to 6 months, and then eventually it fell out. But yeah, that's one. There's more things. There's more fun stories.
Oh my God. I'm well over 100 episodes at this point. That might take the cake.
You're welcome. Sprinkles on top.
This has already been an ice cream conversation. That was great sprinkles. I appreciate the sprinkles on the top of that.
Be yourself.
When were you the happiest?
I keep getting happier. It's kind of annoying. Every day seems to continue to be the best day ever, but it really is.
Love that. What's one app or resource that you're using right now that you really like?
I just use Instagram. That's my main tool for a lot of things.
Simple. What are you procrastinating right now?
Booking some tickets for traveling that I need to do, because I'm starting that program today, tomorrow. So that would be it. But procrastinating I need to buy some tickets.
Got it. What is your favorite book of all time?
Looking back at it, a book that I really enjoyed was called Outliers.
Oh yeah,
back when I was a bit
Malcolm
younger.
Gladwell.
Yeah, that was a book that I really stuck out. I think it reminded me that I'm capable. Like I'm not just good.
Who's your inspiration?
Me, the people I hang around, my family, my best friends.
What's one thing you would change about yourself?
Nothing.
I get that one every once in a while. I always appreciate that answer. Last question. What's your favorite part about Austin? And you can't say the people.
The people, the qualities of the people.
Okay, that's fair.
The qualities of the people here. There's more liveliness. There's more intention here. A lot more active of a lifestyle. Like, I remember one of my favorite things, probably Zilker's up there. But I had a day in Zilker, half a day, where I remember it was like a Wednesday afternoon. It was like my second week here, and I felt so lost in so many ways. And I looked around, and I was like, holy shit, there's so many active people here. And I'm just enjoying this, and I'm here for me, and this is home. This is home. This is normal. People are active on a Wednesday afternoon at Zilker. It's not fucking weird. It's not just me here, like it used to be in Orlando and parks. So I think that was the qualities of the people here.
Yeah, it's arguably the most fit, healthy, active community I've ever been a part of in my entire life.
Yeah, Barton Springs is also, if that's like a place that's new to me, but that gets me going.
Yeah, every once in a while there's a naked chick hugging a tree, but it's a cool vibe.
It's cool.
Yeah,
I'm just like, that's cool.
Yeah, you do.
I love you.
Yeah. Tree loves you.
Yeah, you love the tree. We love all of it.
So I have one last question. Before I ask that question, though, I want to acknowledge you, man, for having a heart of service of being a coach and truly wanting to help people improve their life to the degree of you literally are staring at micro movements to make sure that you have the quality movement, that they are actually doing the things that are going to benefit their life, for leaning into the social media thing and just putting yourself out there and building a brand based on what you intrinsically want to do and how you want to add value to people on the internet, and ultimately for being somebody that's just continues to follow whatever the path has in front of them, because clearly You've had some windy roads, but it's exciting to see you here in Austin. So I'm excited for you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Before I ask my last question, though, what's your plug? Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at The Crazy Trainer. My YouTube, once I get help, I would follow that too. I'm sure that would be badass. Personal vlogs. I'm going to start some with Justin, my buddy, just for training vlogs. That'd be really fun. I did a Threads thing by accident, I think. I opened up a Threads profile. I'm there too. I did write something recently. Movement quality over the amount of weight you move. I also wrote the missionary thing on that one too.
Nice.
Fitness thing. Yeah, that was my first thread.
Put the jalapeno thing on there.
And that's about it.
Put Abraham's quote on there.
I might.
Yeah.
We'll see how it does.
Let's see.
It might perform well. Probably will.
My last question is, it's really whatever your best piece of advice is to the younger you or somebody else in a similar circumstance. Like if you were to go back to day one of the Crazy Trainer and you were to talk to your younger self or somebody in that same place, what's maybe the best piece of advice you would give to that person?
Listen to your own voice the most. Like it's totally cool to take in everybody's opinions, like thoughts and what is their reality, but ultimately you need to feel and see and hear your own voice authentically the most if you want to, I believe, grow at a faster rate as the truer you. So identifying your voice and realizing when it's your mom's or your dad's or your older brother or younger sister, whatever it's going to be, your friends, your peers, the peer pressure, right? Like just know your own voice first. And that'll lead you wherever you authentically want to go. You'll figure that out.
I love that, man. I would add to that too. I think that's beautiful of don't outsource your thinking. I think it's so easy for us to look to the internet or to other people to give us the answers when really we just need to sit in silence for a little bit. Love that. Appreciate you being on the show. Thanks, man.
Thank you. It was really fun to be here. I had a great time connecting. So.
Hey friend, thanks for listening to the show, and if you have any feedback for me about the show or any other guests that you'd want to see in the show, definitely shoot me a message. I love engaging with my audience and figuring out how I can provide the best value possible to the people listening to this show. Before you go, I only have one ask of you, and that would be to check out my 3 Tips Tuesday newsletter. It's 3 marketing tips every Tuesday specifically for the health and fitness entrepreneur to help them attract new leads. If you press the link in the description, it'll take you directly to the archive of all my previous newsletters, and you can decide for yourself if it's something for you. If you end up finding it helpful, you can just sign up for the newsletter and you'll get it in your inbox every Tuesday. Thanks again, and keep hustling, my friends.